Did you know that there are over 300 words for love in canine? Gabriel Zevin. Dogs are a human's best friend. They do so much for humans. Rescue dogs find people after a natural disaster. Therapy dogs comfort people in times of sadness and grief. Guide dogs guide the visually impaired. They let young family members dress them up and tug on their ears. They work as police and firefighters and help save countless lives. Dogs are an endless source of love. Despite my Australian appearance and accent, I am Brazilian, and when I was younger, travelling through poor areas in Brazil, I was very upset with the state of the Bali street dogs. There were so many homeless, hungry, and sick dogs everywhere. I told my mum that one day I would do something to help them. I realized that this was a problem not only in the poor areas in Brazil, but all around the world. And when I came to Bali a few years later, I was blown away with the Bali street dogs. There were so many that were on the road, without a home, nearly getting run over by cars, with horrible skin problems and all the ribs visible. There was one dog when I was eating dinner that was looking up at us and had crackly skin and knots all over their fur, that was barely covering up the amount of skin we could see. It was so skinny that I thought it could fit through my hand. And when I looked into its half-closed eyes, I knew it was asking for help. The words to describe how I felt were unthinkable. You've probably had that moment when you're walking and you see someone driving. He sees a dog on the road and he sees it just chilling there. And when he gets closer and closer, he barely tries to dodge it and the dog takes the trim to the nail. When I'm watching from the road, I usually wince and say, "Watch out, the dog." But the driver would just laugh at me and keep on driving casually. The fact that other people didn't seem to care is because there are so many dogs on the road that they are just used to it. We need to change the way that we're used to seeing dogs on the road. I want people to come to Bali and say, "Wow, where have all the dogs gone?" Let's get to the facts. Miguel Covarrubias, a Mexican painter, first visited Bali in the early 1930s. His common observations of Bali street dogs were usually negative in regard to their lack of well-being and poor lifestyle. He describes the roads as being infested with miserable dogs and called them the scavengers of the island. Covarrubias explained how populations of dogs would reproduce unchecked, describing them as homeless living skeletons suffering from frequent cases of ulcers and mange. These comments suggest that little has changed in the past 100 years. Bali dogs continue to suffer from horrible skin conditions and terrible diseases while abandoned and roaming the streets of the island. As a passionate surfer, I care a lot for the ocean. It's amazing to see the amount of awareness brought from all around the world to keep the seas clean and fighting for trash-free beaches. But we should start to realize how much we can be affected by the feces and urine the dogs on the beaches can produce. It's been estimated that a single gram of dog waste can contain up to 23 million fecal coliform bacteria, which are known to cause cramps, diarrhea, intestinal illness, and serious kidney disorders in humans. Dog feces are one of the most common carriers of the following diseases: whipworms and hookworms. This determines the fact that if there are so many Bali dogs on the street, it leads to them having to excrete on the sand that we walk over, endangering us from getting a disease and worms in our intestines. Not enough people talk about how many dogs there are on the beach, so we need to raise our voice. All living creatures deserve rights. Ranging from cows to mice, animals need a voice. All living creatures feel what we feel, and so they should feel the love and care like we do. The overpopulation of dogs on this island means that there isn't as much access to food, water, warmth, and rest. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he says that to reach your safety needs, you must have your physiological needs, which are food, water, warmth, and rest, met. A dog can't be fully happy without these things, because they can't feel secure, and it's us that can give them that security. Associations like BAWA are working to resolve these problems. BAWA directly relieves the suffering of animals by providing emergency response and rescue, food and medication, rehabilitation, and adoption. BAWA practices humane population control, disease control, and runs intensive education and advocacy programs for sustainable improvement to animal welfare now and into the future. Bauer runs on donations and volunteers that are passionate and eager to help in any way. A small donation can mean something surprisingly big. To create the work needed for my project, I had to think of something unique, something that I was passionate about and that I believed would have a positive outcome. I had the idea to do a surf competition with all my surfing peers. When I approached my teachers, they were hesitant on the idea. They didn't give me the credit that I should have received. I knew I could run something big, but for some reason they didn't, and neither did my mom. They said adults often struggle to run successful events. How will a 13-year-old be able to pull this off? I was determined to prove them wrong. I began advertising my competition all around the school, telling every surfer I knew to sign up and support my project. Through word of mouth, I shared my event with students, teachers, and locals. It didn't stop there. I continued spreading the news about my event to local stores in the Chungu area and requesting sponsors to donate to this great cause. I also organized the judges, who were excellent surfers, Pakadu and Pak Lance. The last thing I needed to organize was the village officer's permission. Only then, my mom had to step in and get the permission slip. Turns out the officer really liked my project and was super happy to give us the paper. Sunday, April 28th arrived. The waves were pumping and heaps of kids started to roll up to Oka Beach. Everyone was surfing great. At the end of the day, everyone crowded around as I announced the winners. The awesome prizes included of Maria Corral and Pescado vouchers, Nalu clothings, and pipe and barrel merch. I knew that the winners would be super happy. The competition was a huge success and we raised 3.64 million rupiah. Yes. The next thing that I accomplished to help the Bali Street Dogs was an adoption day at the Green School. 7 cute little puppies were bought by Bawa to be cuddled by the Green School community, who donated 754,000 rupiah. According to Bawa, it was the first event at our school that someone had decided to adopt a puppy. So many kids had entered the puppy pen to play with them. It was another huge success. On my Instagram, I put up a fundraising website so people from my Instagram could donate. And in total, my followers donated 5.13 million rupiah. When the World Surfing Championship Tour was on in Karamas, I made a few encounters there that led my project even further. I got in touch with a Brazilian that I presented my project to. He owns an Instagram called People on Tour with 58.5 thousand followers that does behind the scenes with the Brazilian athletes. I saw this as an opportunity to promote my project, and he ended up loving it. We spoke to the Australian 7-time World Surfing Championship Stephanie Gilmore, and we took a photo together to promote on his Instagram page. He also took a short video of me advertising my project, the problem that I am assessing, and my fundraising website. Many people started sending me messages saying how awesome it was that a 13-year-old is doing such an amazing thing. Because of my project, I also got in contact with the Brazilian Championship surfer Silvana Lima. She gave me her jersey as a donation to the project. I was stoked. Translation, I was very, very happy. In total, our community raised 9,524,000 rupiah. My actions made me feel extremely great with myself for pulling off both events and having heaps of fun while doing it. I felt like I made an important difference. Merging your passion with a solution to a big problem can make a big difference in a project. For me, it was hard thinking of a different approach to raise money. Surfing is a sport where you rely on yourself, and I relied on myself with my surf competition. And the adoption day just felt like a breeze. Making sure you're passionate about a project is very important so you can keep continuously going and making sure that you're enthusiastic about it. I know that one of the biggest lessons I learned is that you have to rely on yourself and not on other people. I was in contact with a local from Peronon that I had met with, and they agreed to help me and make my surf comp work. They said they would help me with getting permission and letting lots of people know about my comp. But when I texted him, he would usually leave me on red and not reply for about a week, or never. If you want to make something happen, rely on yourself, especially if it's something important like the Bali Street Dogs. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Nalu, Maria Corral, Pescado, Beals Blastoff, and Pipe and Barrel. There are so many other people that have helped me along this journey, so a massive shout out to them. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today. Thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of this project, for your attention and time. Today is my 14th birthday, so happy birthday. Thank you. No. Oh my God. Happy birthday to you. It's a great present to be here with you today, defending a cause that we know is a problem. Be sure to donate to BAWA. If each and every one of us do even just a little, together we can all make a difference to a better world. Thank you.